police station someplace, a local mafia leader in Shanghai is whipping thank the cops for capturing his gorgeous wife, but no one will retaliate. He shouts at them as he exits the building. Officers and moves in the direction of the, although promptly noticing anything, streets incorrectly, as all of their autos are absent. Rival gangsters in their thousands from the acts in front of the group, a gang appears, encircling the guys and leaving them helpless to run. The criminals start firing at their competitors as the mob boss attempts to flee away, but one of the generals makes an unprovoked axe at sprinting guy and removes one of his legs, resulting in his descent to the ground. Brother Sum, the head of the axe gang, takes a weapon and starts horrifyingly dancing, turning away from the mafia leader. A guy strikes another, pleading for compassion. Frequently, it reveals that the gangsters gave the police a large sum of money. They have enough money not to interfere. They kept terrorizing the town with they murder everyone with their dreadful dances. That got in the way of them. The current chaos moments when gangsters dominate the only in a destitute town like the pigsty gangs may coexist happily in the valley. Lack concern for their plight. Owner of the entire property is a landlord who seemed to be intoxicated all the time. Terrorizes the populace by pursuing regardless of whether the person is a middle-aged man or this unusually attractive lady with very good teeth. No one is truly able to escape from his attractiveness as a man. Except his marriage, a landlord who consistently seems irate during her free time she enjoys yelling at for the late payments made by renters and removing their most attractive man from the community somewhere in the city's periphery. Village. Two enigmatic guys observe the intentions to unleash their darkness via individuals' schemes. They enter the town and start extort money from the attractive dude, stating they are members of the Axe Gang. However, their warnings go unheeded. Any apprehension as the locals start to encircle the location with animosity, realizing that he likely selected the improper place to terrorize the thin man. Singh attempts to flee but is prevented. The women were promptly by the landlady, continues to strike him violently with the man fled from the slipper out of terror. Singh threatens to request reinforcements and light a firework and chuck it behind the walls. As a result, hitting someone unexpectedly, he really informed the blowing up a general from the Axe Gang. Both the criminals walking and the man's cap angry, demanding entry into the town, should be aware of the bombers it was one of. Singh informs the man, the occupants and the general moving in the direction of the landlord. When she detects peril, the woman flees, abandoning all of her in blinding speed. Renters left to fend for themselves. The issue becomes worse when the dashing man informs the gang boss of this. He is not frightened by their threats because the general to advance, intending to hit him with an axe, however, and attacks the man within a weird force and knock, barrel fracturing his back and causing him the gang to request assistance. An army soon of criminals enter the pigsty and starts terrorizing everyone in the valley. Someone blocks their path. They kidnap a little girl and threaten to pour asking with her body covered in petrol. The perpetrator of the victim's death, Captain, after waiting for an answer using a lighter, the gang leader attacks the girl, but prevented the effort. Teen, who insists he is the one responsible. Gangsters rush at him furiously, but he goes on to engage in a bombardment of combat kicks, knocking the crooks to the ground floor. Several males are instantly knocked away by a strong blow as the tailor looks to be fighting in the audience as well. In order to protect the children, the adversaries man the group attempts to defend themselves by grabbing, but before they can fire as weapons are sent, they are destroyed. Heading towards the walls. Donut Charges was the name of the restaurant's proprietor. Comes out and starts to assault the thugs, smashing their weapons with a stick, causing them to fly backward. The man's ferocious assaults evoke a sandstorm with nothing but excruciating cries of the offenders is audible. When things start to calm, everyone a mobster faces defeat on the ground while they frantically attempt to escape the city. The gang boss is enraged following what blames Singh and his brother for what occurred, for making them feel very embarrassed as the two are not even gang members. Some orders his soldiers to murder them, but when the criminal axes the main target character, he is able to escape successfully before the weapon strikes. The gang boss respects the man's abilities and instructs him to go murder one of the targets if he ever desires. From the valley of the pigsty leave the Axe Gang and join the Singh from Mafia's hideaway. Counsels him brothers, remarks on ambition and informs him that everything would be ready for them If they can become gang members, Bone wonders how they can murder someone, as they all seem to be from the Pigsty Valley to be really strong, but Singh reveals that he has kung fu skills as well, ever since he was a little boy. He seemed to have spent every last penny of he used his savings to buy a book from a beggar who says it will grant him superpowers. Rather than attending college and becoming Dr. Singh chose to engage in kung fu, since he desired to defend the entire globe. From bad, he encounters a silent girl while out one day. A gang of young guys were harassing him, requests that they discontinue. Singh determines to assist her by employing his kung fu, but is soon beaten and thrown to the ground. The lads tease him and make fun of him, and defeats their two combined attempts to surface ever once Singh made his decision. In this world, decent people can never prevail, and makes a vow to act badly in order to achieve. He runs after spotting an ice cream truck, approaching it while seeming to be a customer, but soon flees after taking the cones, causing the girl to go after them. Singh laughs at them helplessly. Efforts, however, Brother Sum has made the decision to contract with seasoned assassins to take revenge on the Pigsty inhabitants valley. Despite appearing to be blind, the two guys, they are well known in the sense they are known to kill in the criminal world their adversaries, making music when the advisor gilds their lily by referring to assassins as the most powerful killers. They graciously reject, stating that another individual, referred to as the Although Beast, is far more powerful. Now confined to an asylum in the evening, one of the combatants chooses to avoid hearing any more, leave the village, but notices a musician performing his instrument. The man starts to leave. When he hears music and sees things behind him fragmented by the sonic waves, he rapidly discerns that there is a problem. Mistake, but doesn't respond quickly enough, as the assassin also cuts off his head. As the tailor is being attacked by the second performer and compelled to defend oneself as they fight each other, both of them are closely matched opponents. Battle and strife ultimately, which forces them to exit the structures where the first musician is located. The blind guy begins, while he waits for them, use sound to target the tailor, waves and launches him over before the victim is killed by a field. Attacks on the eatery that never stop. Owner appears and helps the tailor. The combatant can defeat the opponent assaults more effectively, employing he tosses all the weapons, including the spear, towards the murderer's. Donut soars towards the approaching surf as he parries the blows that are coming closer to the adversaries. As the music becomes louder, the man may speak with the musicians, using the last weapon, but with force field that repels the assault and obtains, pushed aside by the opposition's response. Musicians take back their place and continues to shoot mercilessly, and the tailor shoos the donut away from the threat, but hurting himself fatally in the process prior to the two being slain by the onslaught. The spreads the waves by the landlord screams at the assailants. You should be aware of another strong entity in this place, and attempts to pursue them, but are swiftly halted by the lady landlord, who appears out of thin air. The killers attempt to strike the victim, but their attackers retaliate after it prompts them to strike the landlord's body instead of one another. The landlord seizes the two guys in his hands and starts tossing them in a circle, finally discarding them as rag dolls. After recovering, the assassins attempt to utilize their most potent assault, shifting the turning skeletal soldiers into sonic waves that fly in his direction. The landlord enters and responds by employing her screaming style, dispersing the chopping up demons and blasting the music. Unavailable when the altercation is ended, the participants in town attempts to save the heroes, but two of them are already dead, and Donut follows. Also succumbs to his injuries next day. Singh tries to intimidate a train passenger, but continues to constantly beaten and thrown off the car as though it were an ordinary beggar. He blamed his brother's lack of wickedness, complains that they haven't done enough even after so many days, murdered anybody wondering how they may participate in the criminals. Enjoy this when he runs into the ice cream girl again, rushes to her and commands that she all of her money to him, and tossing her on the floor, Singh snatches the girl once more, and she faces a knife danger, but only sees she is crying, and I can see it. Bone succeeds in locating the cash within the coins from the cart and take them, and plan to flee, But Singh observes the girl communicating with sign language with him and learns who she is actually as the girl performs the lollipop song. She explains that she was in several fact the main character is a mute girl character made an attempt to save when they kids. When the man understands the reality, he feels awful, and he breaks the lollipops onto the ground, then took off. Before Singh has time to consider his errors, the thugs entrap him and summoned in front of Brother Sum, who explains that he is now a member of the gang and assigns him a new task. Is the man transported to a mental health facility, and the counselors advise him to start a keeper of a murderer in the most remote the structure. Singh heads straight towards the hospital and arrives at the interior ultimately if there is a crowded passageway underground using frogs. He unlocks the metal door by picking the lock. I opened the door to see an elderly guy seated on. They return the individual to the toilet, and the criminals find it difficult to believe that this is the infamous murderer who's known as the Beast. According to the advisor, their leader wants to murder 2 individuals and is ready to pay anything, yet his worries about the proper person is really the elderly man. Gangster points a pistol towards the victim, the man, but he swiftly backs away, the firearm aside, and in that direction the guy shoots himself in the head and burns, yet miraculously he manages to, using just 2 fingertips, capture the bullet. When everyone stands by in awe as it approaches the fortifications, the Beast pounding the ground with enormous force, power piercing the with a massive hole, while everyone in the casino scrambles for space. It's a life. The assailant sprints forward and spots the opponents who are anticipating him by the she reveals herself to be the landlady. When the landlord arrives here to demolish the couple's show, the Axe Gang forever the funeral bell that the gangsters rang brought as a present, which caused the brother to yell angrily at them. The lady splits the killer's legs with a kick. She split the table in 2 as her spouse kicks the dude in the face directly, but they cannot move the Beast at all. The 2 come together and leap for the hostile forces, working together to strike attempts, but are shortly unsuccessful and sent soaring across the air. The murderer starts hitting the spouse, employing extraordinary quickness as the guy frantically attempts to avoid the punches, but stumbling at the last minute and failing to slap the walls with a knock. The lady jumps in and starts using her, sending a shockwave by yelling, "Will destroy everything," but for is able to somewhat advance the adversary a little bit. The murderer mocks her, attempts to assault the woman, then does so, pushing her through without compassion. Room, considering how much stronger the opponent is, powerful, goes to the giant with the landlady. They ring the bell they brought and ring at the peak, expanding up under men's force. The lady turns the bell on the enormous metal into a powerful amplifier and starts unleashing her lion's roar to unleash a powerful when it emits a shockwave towards the adversary. Annihilates everything in its path. The blow was so strong that it sent the Beast reversing direction alongside all other things as it creates a tornado, smashes into the structure within the space as a whole. Unexpectedly, the murderer was able to, as he scrambles on the ground, to live, but the pair leaps in and gets ready to shoot a follow-up round. However, the adversary concedes swiftly and cries out for mercy, but the pair lowers their defenses. The guy pounced on them, utilizing flower-shaped daggers to stab them in the abdomen. The 3 rapidly become entangled in they encounter a deadlock as they try to attack the enemy's weak points. When the gang boss notices this, instantly instructs Singh to hit the couple with a wooden bat to the head. The main character is hesitant to strike out, but ultimately chooses to attack the murderer immediately to the head, forcing the victim to break free in a frenzied outburst. Discards the pair. The murderer launches the lead character, goes down and strikes the man in the face. Angry expression, hitting his head against the surface. Needless, the Beast discerns, immediately observes that there is a problem, and the couple realizes they have vanished after saying along with them, and the couple returns the guy to the Valley of the Pigs and makes medical attempts to assist him. However, you're startled to learn that Singh is still alive in some way. Even after having suffered such harm, they assert that the only method the main character must be dead, if not already, considering that the damages truly caused the man's hidden abilities. Meanwhile, the thugs have arrived to the valley known as Pigsty. The locals have entirely stopped caring. The beast discovers the remnants of wraps where it resembles the cocoon has emerged. The criminals leave the building and the murderer is astonished to see the buildings observe that Singh is still active today despite receiving a fatal beating. A crowd attacks the protagonist and attempts to murder him with their weaponry, yet they strike swiftly dodged as Singh uses his fist to send them flying. Little endeavors, he kicks the thugs across the playing field. They arrive at the bottom platform, where criminals attempt to encircle the warrior. They all assault him, but Singh, evidence of superhuman powers, continues to kick the males in the buildings. The thugs attempt to flee and take off. They fail in their efforts to subdue the beast, swiftly one by one, ultimately only Singh staying with the murderer. The main character punches the while-standing adversary and kicks him in the face. Stomach makes the adversary fly down to the ground, but as I was shocked to see how frail the man was. Harmed by the vicious assaults, he then makes an attempt to engage the foe utilizing a flurry of fists. Although the blows are light, swiftly halted by the adversary as the old guy can grab the flying object. Hand stepping on the man's feet, Singh causing him to wail in pain. He continues with a powerful kick that drops the guy, knocks him to the ground, and strikes him. The murderer chooses to move across the pitch to change tactics and start acting like the man is lying on the ground next to a frog. Rockets with amazing speed towards Singh, slams him through with speed, a structure colliding with its walls. The protagonist strives to fly higher as he leaps across the floors, the earth, but as he moves, the beast latches onto him and charges the man, knocking him to the ground. Skied because of the attack's strength, Singh, the guy vanished into the atmospheres, keeps on extending his wings, but finally slows as he regains command of his forward motion and gazes upward. When he observes a massive Buddha created by the sky, Singh puts his hands together and starts to fly, accelerating incredibly downward as he advances on the creature. The man starts to experience palm fire as the flames soon envelop his entire body. The murderer senses something is off as he feels the tremendous pressure building and observes what looks to be a meteorite headed in his direction. Singh employs the Buddhist palm method. This creates a massive crater under the opponent, stomping on him with heavy inertia from above. Quickly pleading for forgiveness, the beast Singh retreats the assault while soaring across the sky like before. The murderer attempts to attack the protagonist by utilizing the identical. Surprisingly, however, Singh swiftly responds and directly behind the person, breaking in the process, take the entire building apart. After witnessing the extraordinary power, the killer's differences from one another, surrenders and bows down to the singer, conceding defeat for the first time ever before. Occasionally, the ice cream girl returns. She crosses the street with her card and notices a brand new confectionery store in the city. She approaches the front and notices the bone at the moment serving as the assistants to the store. Singh immediately recognizes the girl and swiftly approaches her and grinned at his pal. The young woman responds warmly as she observes that Singh is now firmly his real self. People start recalling their past selves. Time they initially came into contact. The girl enters with time and Singh's greetings. The shop in jubilation. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.